Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. So when I profiled Vanquish Soul, there is one engine I completely forgot to speak about, which is an engine that is kind of popular in the Vanquish Soul deck. And that is the engine that is comprised of Kashtira Engine and Wraithsoth. I'm going to explain why I'm not playing that engine in my current build of Vanquish Soul. However, I will also showcase things that I would have done if I were to consider it. The engine is really strong. Kashtira Engine is like the most splashable like standalone monster in the game at the moment. It's a +1 if it resolves. The monster can be effective both going first or going second. If you go first, you just have a monster interruption to whatever your opponent tries to commit on the board, making your opponent have to think twice or use their utility cards on the monster itself. Which is one of the reasons why you see Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse being very popular right now. Also, like, the card is great at breaking boards if you're going second. It has 2400 attack, so it has a really good baseline of stats. And yeah, like, the card itself can get rid of 2 cards by itself. And in Vanquish Soul specifically, you also play paired with Wraithsoth, because Wraithsoth is a fire attribute monster, and it's also an extender that you can summon for free. But it being a fire attribute makes it important because of Stake Your Soul. Like in other strategies, you can have even more synergy with it because it is a fire warrior. And as of late, we have gotten a lot of fire warrior support, like the Battling Boxer, for example. Just to name like a few things. But my issue with Fenrir at the moment was, like, as I was playing the deck, it didn't feel great for me in testing because it just conflicted with other cards that I wanted to play in the deck. The Rescue Ace, the Fire Attacker Impulse engine is an engine that I really like in this deck, and it does conflict with Fenrir if your opponent does not get rid of the Fire Attacker. Another thing about Fenrir is that it's not a really good top deck if you already have an established board, and it being a Kashtira monster means that you are more susceptible to the engine cards that your opponent is already playing, like Book of Eclipse, Book of Moon, and stuff like that. So in testing, I wasn't a huge fan of Fenrir. However, I will showcase you one combo that you should actually consider if you are playing the Kashtira engine, specifically Pressured Planet Wraithsoth. But yeah, I'm going to show you the combo right now, and then I'm going to tell you all the like benefits and de-benefits from it. And yeah, it's something I don't think a lot of people looked upon, and looking at the current format and how it works, this could be very effective. So without further ado, we'll begin. We activate the planet Wraithsoth, and with Wraithsoth we're going to add Kashtira Fenrir, and we're going to special summon the Fenrir. We're going to do its effect, and then with the Fenrir we're going to grab Wraithsoth. This combo also works if you already have Rosin in hand or any other level 4 Vanquish Soul. Ideally, Dr. Madlove is another one that you can showcase for this. But now what we're going to do is activate Stake Your Soul. We're revealing the Wraithsoth. We're summoning the Rosin. The Rosin is going to grab us Dr. Madlove. Now what we're going to do is we're going to link away the Rosin, or we can just keep it on board. It really doesn't matter. But now we're going to summon Rock the Vanquisher. Rock the Vanquisher is going to trigger. We're going to special summon Dr. Madlove. And now Dr. Madlove will trigger, and then she'll grab us Continue or Dust Devil, whichever one we see fit. Let us just grab Continue. And now what we're going to do is we're going to activate the Rise Heart. This combo also works if you have Parallel Exceed. Like any way to get to a rank 4 is suffice, but the important detail here is the Pressured Planet Wraithsoth. You'll see in a second why. So the Rise Heart is going to summon. We're now locked into XYCs. Take note that we haven't normal summoned. Now what we're going to do is we're going to overlay, and the monster we're going to overlay here is a monster called Starliege Photon Blast Dragon. So let's read its effect. Starliege Photon Blast Dragon is a rank 4 light dragon XYZ monster, and the first effect is if this card is XYZ summoned, you can special summon one photon monster from your hand. We don't run photon monsters in this deck, so we're not going to think about this effect. However, let's read the second effect. While this card XYZ monster, this XYZ monster is summoned monster is on the board, your opponent cannot target monsters you control with 2000 or more attack with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So this is the effect that we care about. This effect specifically is the reason we're summoning this. The design of this card is kind of odd because Konami did not give it 2000 attack, meaning that this monster itself could be targeted or destroyed. However, if we read Pressured Planet, the Pressured Planet gives 100 attack and defense to all your monsters for every different attribute. Right now we have 3. So the Starliege Photon Blast Dragon has 2100 attack, meaning that both the Starliege Photon Blast Dragon and the Kashtira Fenrir itself both cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. That's a very, very big deal, because if you look at a few decks that we have in the format, like Kashtira being a prime example, some of these decks cannot deal with this kind of protection. Also, if you look at the utility cards that we have at the moment, like Book of Moon, Infinite Impermanence, Effect Veiler, Ghost Mourner, just to name a few cards, those cards don't do well against these cards either. If you look at Labyrinth, they have a bunch of removal cards that involve targeting and destroying. So the protection from these, from this card, also protects these. Also take note, we did not normal summon this yet, and we also have an extender. So at the worst case scenario, you have the Continue to interrupt your opponent with the summon of Rasen. And take note, Rasen has 1800 attack, but with their Pressured Planet, it will become 2200 attack, meaning that it also cannot be targeted or destroyed because of the Photon Blast Dragon. And you can also add Heavy Borgar, you can also add like the Caesar values, and they also get the protection from Photon Blast Dragon's effect. Another thing that could happen is if you have like any other level 4 extender. I'm not running Parallel Exceed in this build, but if you were to have Parallel Exceed or stuff like any other normal summon, one other thing you can do is like your normal, you activate, you lose 500, you special, and this is another rank 4, and depending on what rank 4 you're summoning, it could also get the protection from the Photon. So like, let's say for example you're summoning Abyss Dweller, or you're summoning like a Baguska, just to like name a few examples. Like a lot of decks just loses to this. Like if you're facing Tier Elements and you have this setup, it's pretty much game over, because not only do you have the Abyss Dweller to like freeze their graveyard, but this cannot be targeted. So no Pearl Rhino, no Soliac, no Dragostapelia. Like a lot of cards just lose to this setup as well. Also, take note that unless you're summoning Bakuska, this board cannot get super polyed either. So there are no real common counters to like this particular board outside of Dark Ruler No More or Book of Eclipse. But yeah, I just wanted to showcase you this combo. It's something kind of unorthodox. The first time I experimented with Photon Blast Dragon was with Sarjuja, the Scoldred, because Sarjuja is another monster that can also give it extra attack, making your board very, very sticky and hard to break. But I just figured I mentioned like this combo with the Pressured Planet because it's pretty much something very obscure, not many people think about, and even going second, like if you summon Fenrir and then you summon the Photon Blast Dragon and your opponent does not see it coming, like you already have an untargetable, undestructible monster, and that's pretty cool because that means you have a line that can get you to Zeus without getting interrupted. So that's another note to take in consideration. But yeah, I hope you found this informative. I hope you found this interesting and to your liking. It just kind of goes to show you that even though I'm not doing this particular play in the Vanquish Soul deck, that is something that I have considered. And if you are a player that plays the Kashtira Engine, and like this might be something that could be beneficial for you, because I can tell you this right now, I don't think any of your opponents will see this coming unless they see this video. But yeah, I keep practicing, keep dueling, and I hope you enjoyed. More videos coming soon.